Your work.
I placed it. So.
Yeah. So that's the update for anyone if they were confused about that.
Officially start or not? So it's ready to. Yeah, thanks. Okay, thank you all for being here. This is a workshop, only tonight. So I won't take and roll, although we do have two members that want to hear, both of them use. Only keep the record. Did want to talk, we're gonna review some of our, workshop, I'll call them decisions, and some that we hadn't decided on yet from our last meeting. And then we're going to do an overview of the maps. And then we're going to try approaching this from kind of a zone by zone perspective. Because I think some people might have noted when we were going through the use tables, we were kind of bouncing around and talking to specific things, but not necessarily something would say that we've covered the whole use tables, and I'd like to make sure that we do cover everything correctly. What I'm hoping when we get to it, which is going to be the last item, if we can talk a little bit more about moving forward. Bottom line is I'd like to really get into Village Center at our next meeting, and in particular address PCD, form-based zoning, and some of the bigger items that actually impact that zone, which also then opens up the whole discussion for the entire thing. So just as a heads up, that's kind of where we're going. And just give anyone a copy of my notes on what I put together from our last meeting regarding that. So we'll start with, if we could, Sky, maybe you can help us out here. And this, I think it's this item that you sent us the other day, which is planning board workshop notes.
Yep, I just wanted you guys to look at that and, let me know if there were any mistakes made, if you didn't remember it the way I wrote it. And this will just be helpful for us to have a record of what we did at the meetings and any, I use the word determinations. I think Don, you used decisions, just kind of the things we're talking about. However you guys want to refer to it is what I'm saying.
Call it what you want, whatever we do has to go through the whole public hearing process and so forth. So we don't necessarily take official votes, but we do at the end of that process make a recommendation. So, but as a board, we have to, whether it's a straw poll or whatever, decide these are items that we agreed to, so we can move on to pick up the rest of them. So, were you going to go through this, or
Would you like me to?
well, I'd at least like to talk, if I believe my memory is served me correctly, it doesn't always. There were a few decisions, in particular that batch plants would be basically allowed in both limited industrial and permitted in the industrial zone. Right now, it currently is, I think, in limited industrial.
It's currently conditional in the limited industrial and it's a blank for industrial. My recollection was that you guys were going to keep it conditional in light industrial and have it be permitted industrial, but if there's confusion about that, we should definitely figure out what you guys were thinking.
What were you guys thinking?
That's right, so.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Okay, good. All right, then we're there. Extractive industry, was there any question on that? Or again, what was talked about there? Again, we kind of took a straw poll on that. And what she's got here is everybody in agreement.
Right, we just, retained it as conditional.
As it is
Or
in the
free
current
handing it
code.
out.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And then the other part of that was the boundary for LIR 05-88, the Auburn concrete, that image talked about that being captured in that zone.
Mhm.
Okay, right. any other decisions in quotes that we should make sure are captured. Okay, then let's go ahead and move on to the maps.
So I can pull up whatever visuals might be helpful for you guys. We can look at our online GIS one that you can kind of zoom in on. This is the comparison sheet in your workbook. We could look at these images probably separately if you'd like to. Whatever is going to be helpful for you guys to look at on the big screen as we talk about this. I want it to be what's going to be good. Oh,
We do have one online. I'm wondering if you maybe other to do the shows.
I'm going to share screen.
Okay.
I just didn't know what they wanted to look at.
Okay, yeah, so is that.
Well, I have the maps. I don't know about the rest of the board if they're welcome to, or anybody else that's here. Certainly put that up. I think in general, what I was going to ask was some kind of a few basic questions, right? If I'm comparing these two maps correctly, this is proposing that we eliminate Village Center and CC, two current zones, right? And then it talks about, and what I'd like to know is on things that we've eliminated, why we've eliminated them, and then what is the rationale behind the new zones. Then we've added mixed transition in two different locations. We've expanded MUC, where we took out part of CC, and then we took out part of MUC and put in transition zone, and then we extended MUC to 196 to take up part of what's called CC, right? And then I would like, and we can talk about this when we talk specifically to these zones. I'd like to know about Middle Village and Lower Village boundaries. Did we make any changes there? And I think I heard we did make a couple. And then we have Upper Village extending into LI, right? So there's a number of changes to the map. We can all agree to agree, or we can basically say, all right, we're okay with this one, but not with this one, and we can table that so that we can kind of go zone by zone. But at least from a grand scheme of things, I'd like to kind of talk about the rationale and why we made the different decisions on just the basic zones. All right, so I don't know if anyone from the board had any additional things on this that they want to bring up, but
I was wondering what guidance from the comprehensive plan, all I can find in there that really refers to any zone changing is the growth map. And I didn't really see much that could have driven the zone changes. And it's just sort of like a broad paintbrush of neighborhood transformation sort of through the mall area. Was there something else I was missing in there that directed the zone changes in the comprehensive plan?
Yeah, I can't speak to that. CPIC can. I wasn't part of this process at that point, so I think at this point, this should be a
Can
discussion.
you bring that map up that's in the comprehensive plan? It's I think it's this one, 130, page 133.
133. Okay, that's gonna just take me a second. So if you guys want to start discussing, go ahead. I didn't have the comp plan up. I tried to have everything I need, but I missed that one. So apologies.
I have to say that there was not a lot of detailed discussion
Mhm.
with the consultants when this map was certainly initially proposed. But, you know, what guided, I think, their work was looking at the area where there's already water and sewer and looking at what would be the area that makes sense for a walkable town center, where mixed-use buildings make sense. And so that, you know, from the bridge, going up through Lower Village, Middle Village,
Mhm.
Upper Village, Village Center,
Mhm.
you know, that's what guided sort of where there's water and sewer and where sort of more dense development might occur at some point. No mandate, but, you know, at the same time that was happening, the ADU regulations were changing at the state level.
Mhm.
So it seemed to make sense that both of those things were happening at the same time. I can tell you that it wasn't until very recently that we actually looked at the maps in detail, comparing the current zones with the proposed zones,
Mhm.
and it was illuminating. You know, in some cases, the proposed zones made a lot of sense. And then in other cases, it was like, well, why did this happen? You know, so we can go through, you know, area by area. But I mean, there wasn't anything in the comprehensive plan that said, here's a recipe, follow this. But there was a very clear desire, I think, expressed in the comprehensive plan to have a walkable town center, to have places where people, you know, kind of can naturally mingle and come together, benches, pocket parks, things like that. You know, respecting existing neighborhoods, so we stayed away from R1 and R2, you know, we sort of stayed along that corridor. That, I think that was the level of discussion. And there was a very early proposal where additional areas were included.
Mhm.
And then we realized there's no water sewer there. That
Mhm.
doesn't make sense for right now.
Yeah.
And we went through a process because the schools didn't have proposed zone to live in.
Mhm.
So that was dealt with. I think that kind of addresses that initial.
Yeah.
Process. And then we did, you know, have the chance to look sort of in some cases parcel by parcel, like why some of these boundaries changed, and we can address that.
So, well, I don't know. I'm sorry if anyone wants to look, because I haven't put it up. That's the problem. That sort of brushes on the zones. It's not in color in the book, but it is on 133 in the book.
There's just a couple of thoughts, right? One is, I do believe if we're going to go to the town, we need to be able to tell them why we made the changes from whether it's a name change in the zones or it's a actual change. The other thing that happens, and that's why I really appreciate Tom rerunning his report. I haven't gotten through all the whole thing because we just got it, right? But I think that report was certainly helpful because it at least tells me what we did to property owners, right?
Right.
And I should say it a different way. What is a possible result to property owners? Because we're impacting property owners two ways. When we change the use tables, that impacts properties within that particular zone. But when we change properties and have them in different zones, that also, that new, I won't call it new, but whatever that zoning is from the zone that they now move into is really possibly different than the zoning that they were under before.
Right.
Right, and so the only thing I've found that's at least been able to help me understand what the impacts are from doing those changes is the thing that Tom puts together. Right? So I do think we're going to need to use that quite a bit. I did, and we'll talk about it again when we get to this next section. Because there are things that are in Lower Village, which I won't say I didn't expect, and I think I even understand. But the bottom line is that it does sort of demonstrate some of that, right? This one looks like it was good, and it's now not good. This one that was not good is now good, right? So understand how that happens is also important. But I think that from a standpoint, the biggest changes I think we made were Village Center disappearing, CC disappearing in the transition zones, right? And then creating MP, right? So each one of those, I think we really need to, it's like, what are there's a set of bullets, what's the rationale for each of those changes as to why we actually did that. So I don't know that we're going to answer that in today's review, because it might be worthwhile going to the next step, but if we wanted to take that on, I'm fine, having further discussion with the board.
Would it make sense to start with the lower village? That
Well,
might
that's
be
what I
an easier
was
one.
suggesting, right? But what is,
I mean, I think when I started looking at this,
Yeah.
I go back to, what we were talking about before, that last meeting, we looked at, the uses as a kind of a scattershot approach, and we made some progress, but it wasn't like gonna be a stepwise process.
Right.
I think now that I don't think we want to take all the maps on at once,
No.
because that's not gonna take time. I think it's good, starting with Lower Village, moving up to Upper Village at this point. If we can get that far tonight, I think, we're not gonna get PCDs, et cetera, in Upper Village, but at least,
well,
look at the map.
Scott.
I know,
I've
but-
been told that we're not gonna get there.
But if we look at Lower Village and we look at the uses and we look at the differences in the map and we look at Tom's table. It seems like a good approach to take, then move up to Middle Village.
Well, thank you, 'cause I agree.
So good. Excellent.
Can I ask a quick question before we move on to that? I love that approach as well, especially because we talked about. In my memo, I had called out, some big entire map changes just to call your attention to them. And I just wanted to make sure, I think one of the things on the agenda tonight was to talk about areas for future discussion, on the entire map. Was there anything that I missed in this list that you guys felt like were big changes that you'd like to add to future discussion? I just want to make sure I'm catching what you guys are saying here.
I would like to add residential to what we're gonna talk about. The residential zones, the R3 specifically.
Okay.
Because they were removed. If you removed a few development options and really just left one behind. But there was several new ones in the comprehensive plan that never got put in there, building groups and all that stuff.
So not zone boundaries, but uses.
Yes, well. Yeah, exactly. I don't care about the boundaries, but the uses and just the residential section of this.
Okay,
We could
yep.
touch on at some point in the future, no rush.
Yep.
And then one other thing I wanted to mention to you for future. Is under the mobile home parks, there was some state laws that changed recently and the recode's not up on those. They
Yep.
reduced the lot size requirements, so.
Yep. It will go to our attorney prior to ever going to a public hearing,
Yeah.
and if there's an update, we'll catch it at
Yeah.
that time.
That might even, I don't know how long this is gonna take, like, recode is gonna take.
We
Might
haven't
be
been
something for
pushing
separate.
those because we're still
Yeah.
working through it, and I want to catch the most recent stuff when it gets to that point.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you for bringing that up for sure. It will get that legal compliance checked.
So, since you just gave me this, I haven't compared those notes to what we have here. So I will get back to you if I notice anything. That I think maybe should be included with that.
That actually, I'm sorry, that does get to a question that I put into my email to you guys last week. We're working with physical binders, that have the stuff in them. I did print your memos out for you because I feel like we're in a physical frame of mind at this point. I wanted to know how you wanted to handle memos, moving forward. For you guys, I think as the planning board used to have, envelopes. At the police department, the historic district still does that. I have heard that the police department is not open as much as it used to be, so it isn't maybe as much of the silver bullet as it used to be. So I was just hoping the board could provide guidance on how they'd like to receive their memos at this point.
I don't need I can print the memo.
Yeah,
It's
I-
all this stuff I couldn't
I
print,
think
so I don't
email
really
goes for
need printed
me, that
memos.
way.
Okay, so you guys are good with the digital Friday before
Yeah.
memos? Okay,
Yeah, I won't
perfect.
pick on a certain person, but he still wanted to pick up his paper every year. Every meeting, he's not with us.
One thing there was a few follow-up items from last time that
Yep.
you were gonna find out for us, like one of them was gas stations, another one was drive-throughs, fast
Yes.
food. So at some point I was hoping we could talk about those follow-up
Yeah,
things.
I think I have a couple answers for them, but
Okay.
when we switched to maps, I had to put some effort into that and I wasn't able to do every single item last time.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have an answer for drive-throughs though when we
Okay.
want to get through there.
Okay.
Yep.
So, just why, and this goes back to my email that I sent you. And that's in line with the 7.3 meeting, which is what she's referring to. I think there was additional discussion either on restaurants, fast food, drive-throughs, food trucks was talked about in R2. And I'm not saying it's a comprehensive list, but that's what I had. But it was those types of items that were discussed, so.
Yep.
And maybe if we can put, here's a list of, here's all the things we think we've all agreed to, here's a list of all the things that need further discussion.
So there
And
was a
sort of
third,
carry that forward.
yeah, there was a third thing in your workshop notes called outstanding items, which I think was all of those things. Did I cover everything you guys left that meeting having questions about, or did I miss anything? I want to know if I missed something, like we talk about a lot of things. Please don't be afraid to say, how did you miss that conversation? So I appreciate you guys keeping me on track. And then so if we're moving to Lower Village, is this visual still helpful for you? Do you want the zoning map? I can zoom in a little better on that one. Or do you want the proposed,
Whichever one you can use easier is fine with me.
I also just wanted to point out, on the lower, since you have the starting lower, the memo, the way that Sky laid it out is actually really useful. It notes specifically which lots have changed for some of these, and so like I would just encourage going forward. Look at the memo, the section that Sky has for the whatever section we're talking about as we go through.
I think I'm gonna pull up our GIS map, and I'm gonna check to see if I'm sharing that. And I would say it's hard for me to get everything up on the screen for you guys, so I'm gonna pull the GIS map up here so we can zoom in, we can look at lot owners, we can get into a fine detail here. And if you guys keep your center zones map in your book in front of you, I think that will work. If it doesn't, let me know, but that's what feels like the best for me. And it's how I think I did it when I was preparing the memo.
This is in that set that they gave us tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a section on page 2 that says Lower Village. I think that's what he's referring to. That's it. No, I was looking at the map there.
The memo didn't change from last Friday, I just printed it for you guys because I wasn't sure if you wanted it or not. Yep, I went through the lots that have changed. I can read them out to you. You guys can let me know if you want to discuss them. They're mostly all to have parcels be in one zone. A lot of them moved into R1. And I think it was probably done on the majority, what's in the majority of the lot, though I think there's one. I think this one is U 0269 18 Summer Street, which is town owned. So my guess is that because it was the town owned parcel, it was put into R1. But if you guys wanted that to go into LV, it could make more sense. I don't think I don't have strong feelings about that myself.
Doesn't make any sense to.
It's currently going into R1, so I think this is the only one where it's probably more majority in LV right now and it's moving to R1. So as I said, it's town owned. I don't know if there's any development potential here at all.
I don't think it is.
Like a big rock, isn't it?
Yeah. I think zone is kind of extraneous with this parcel, probably, it's got physical limitations.
Okay.
And then the other ones on
Yes,
Summer Street, if they were kept in LB, would have the same issue as some of the houses on Green Street. As far as being not permitted because they're a single family, so it's better to be in their
Yeah.
district anyway.
so,
So one's on.
I kind of forgot about that, Scott, and that's a really great point. That probably is the reason for that second unknown reason for change. Those are probably single family homes and they were moved to R1 so that they would be permitted rather than not permitted in LB. And you've put together all the things we gave you and I hadn't done that yet, so thank you. So I think probably we should actually talk about those lots. If you guys are good with the lot changes to put a lot in all zones, which the assessor really likes if we can do. He really likes that.
So which 65B is going into Lower Village completely?
U0265B, I think,
And so is
I think that's
the
this
one
one.
behind it?
This one's U265. I think that one's going R1. Or not.
Okay.
No, but it says only leaving LV in the note.
Which one is this one?
Isn't that the parking lot?
B is parking lot for sure.
The highlighted one right now is definitely a parking lot.
Can you put the satellite on?
Yes.
Well, that's Lionel's building.
I just wanted, I'm visual.
Yep, it should come up. Thanks for
That's
including
okay.
it. It's even an option. You forget sometimes. We can pull off the zoning map if it's obscuring the view and we can just go based off of map lots.
Thank you.
Yep, so that's the big parking lot. $65B, yeah, that one is going to be Lower Village.
Which that particular lot, there's something like the suffers.
I think it's Bowden Mill Associates is the owner of record, which,
It's sucks.
yep. I know it's legally on our,
Yeah, yeah.
assessing database.
So
I think that one's also barely currently
let
in.
me ask a different way, then let's go back to that.
Yep, I'm sorry, that just freaked out on me. I apologize.
That's all right. And I guess I don't need to see it.
I apologize about that.
The lot that's there
Mhm.
is in a different location or a different zone, which we're moving it into.
No, it's mostly in the Lower Village.
It's split, right?
Yep,
Okay.
and that one, quite honestly, 65B is barely in R1, I think. I was trying to turn the zoning one back on. Sorry, they take a second. Yeah, see, it's barely in R1. That would be surprising if we wanted to move it to R1. I would say that one certainly makes sense to stay in Lower Village.
Yeah, no, I keep it lower village. I
Yep,
just
yep.
thought I heard you say something different.
No, that one's staying in Lower Village.
So you're doing it lot by lot, right? You're not saying that's necessarily wrong, but can we talk about a few of the properties?
Do we want to go to the uses now?
What are we gonna do with those two residential ones on Green Street?
I think this one, and
Talmadge
then
Frost, actually, I think Frost just got, someone just bought that.
8 Winter Street. So this one right here, and then this one here.
Okay.
They moved into R1 and I hadn't put this together. Scott had a very good point, probably because they're single family homes.
Yeah.
So that they would be permitted.
So if I could have the discussion, I think it would also be relevant to this discussion.
Sure.
Right?
Do you guys want a different visual pulled up or anything?
No,
Great.
no, this is Tom's thing and
Yeah.
it's more. I think I understand it, right? And Scott certainly touched on it. But we went. And 2 and 3 Green Street, which sounds like we were talking about. According to this, went from. LV to not permitted, it was permitted for 2 and 3 Green Street. This is neither one's, they're both not permitted due to first floor units. Now, is that changing with what we just talked about?
Yes.
Okay, so if we go to R1, what we have here is corrected, correct?
So 2 and 3 Green Street, and
2 and 3 right now are Lower Village. With the new zoning on the chart you just sent us, says it's not permitted due to first floor unit, which is what you were talking about, right?
right, but those are different than the ones we were discussing with you.
Okay,
So those are still not permitted under the new. Because those are down in here.
This 3 Grand Street here.
okay.
That one is,
Okay, there we go. So this is 3 and this is 2.
Then it still wouldn't be.
Yeah.
If they're gonna fit in the
Yeah.
lower village.
Right.
Say it again.
If there, it looks like the new map keeps them in the lower village, if we're looking at it right.
Yes,
So it keeps them in the map, and what it says here,
That's correct.
they were lower village permitted, are they still? Is that just an error?
I think Tom's table is correct.
I think I'm correct, double check it.
That they're still in,
Then there was a lot of changes in it, so.
No, I
there could be
understand.
something wrong.
I-
As we go.
All I was doing is going and looking at changes that impacted property owners in lower village.
Been vacant a long time and recently bought out by, it looks like, some sort of property group, so,
3,
yeah,
Yeah.
I might. Maybe neighbors.
that property group might prefer it stay in lower village
Yeah.
due to a higher development potential, yeah.
I don't know about the Talmadge house, she used to run a commercial kitchen out of there, so. You know, that's a tough one too, but, yeah,
43.
Okay,
Fine.
so it's
But given,
currently they're permitted because they don't front Main Street. That's prohibition is nothing on the first floor that fronts Main Street.
okay, so
I can look at the code with that, it's extended to some. Well, you can double check that.
So it seems like this, you know,
so if I'm reading you right, if that same provision applies, is to apply, then they would stay lower village permitted, which is what they are today.
Yeah, let's take a look at the recode table, make sure I got that right, the use table.
So anyway, those two, I just circled because they went over. And then frankly, I was starting to get myself wrapped around the axle toward the bottom of that page. With,
It's throughout.
we had 23 and 24 Main Street. And maybe, yeah, that's still lower village. 22 and 24 Main Street. We had lower village not permitted. Today. And now we have it permitted, which is. In, I'll say the property owner's favor, right? So I'm not pointing from that perspective, but. You go down and 25 is not permitted and then permitted. 20 or 34 is. Not permitted, but permitted. Actually, the other one was not permitted, so. 3 of those. Right, I guess 4 of those went from not permitted to permitted in the new code. And then 5 Winter Street went the other way around. It went from permitted to not permitted. The difference in those, it looks like some are multifamily dwelling units and that last one is a single family. So I know there's a difference there, but yeah, you kind of explained that one.
Can I explain it?
Mhm.
No, I wasn't part of it.
Well, it's the same issue, the
No, I know.
The ones-
That's,
but I mean, the ones that are now permitted are good. I mean, this is all, they have apartments on the first floor and those, they weren't supposed to. Original, in the old code. And the new code allows it, so. It's good. I mean, they're trying to get higher density. It's great. There are the 3 lots that are listed here that. Obviously are single families and now based on the code are not permitted unless the Main Street. Fronting on Main Street it can be part of it, but also it seems like a number of these lots are. Having businesses. So I don't
I
know
get
what
it. I have problems telling somebody that they were permitted and now they're not permitted.
then make single family homes allowed on lots not running Main Street in the lower village.
we could do that. We could also, I think, what is it, 3 lots that are having this issue? We could put them in R1. I think both are options. We had just talked about that one earlier in the night, so I just want to throw it back out there to you guys to consider. They all border R1. It wouldn't be strange to make that change, but we could also do the Main Street. I think both options get at that issue. Sorry.
Can you click on lot? Just trying to see.
Sorry, which one?
Lot 22, number 5.
This one?
No, the next
Next
one.
one up,
Just trying to picture that. Okay, yeah.
Oh, this is 9 Green Street, I think. This is,
Well, that's
Five.
5, okay.
I don't know,
What's
I think
9?
the
Can I
photos are being a little strange here tonight.
go back to 9?
The photo was the same. Oh, no, there we go. That's fine.
Just trying to see where the lines changes.
Do you want me to pull up Google Street View of
No,
Green Street?
no, no.
Okay.
No, I know both of those houses. Been in them both.
All right. More than me. Apologies.
But along with the lines of earlier, I mean, I think. Some of those properties are probably happier to just be in LV, so
I know,
when
so-
they don't.
So a way to say it
And
is,
also, part of the goal of doing this is, maybe driving things towards where the town and the comp plan want things to go. That, but I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 or whatever, but the U06-024 clearly is a property that's near other developable properties in an area where we had a beautiful amphitheater that was gonna go in years ago.
don't bring up the empathy.
I haven't brought it up for a while. So I mean, that's
You're
part of
getting the
this
park
too.
over here, or over at the end of the new bridge.
Are we gonna go through each of these zones and just say the ones that are now not permitted have to go back to being permitted?
I'm not saying that either, but we need to understand that, and if we're gonna tell property owners if they're not permitted, right? Other than you're not permitted anymore, I'm not sure I have a good answer. You would?
I mean, currently it's vacant and it probably makes a lot more sense for it to be developed into something other than a single family home.
I agree. There are a couple of buildings that I've struggled to sell and sold eventually. Because we weren't allowed for anything on the first floor, so yes, I don't disagree with that comment at all.
Is there a reason for prohibiting the residential on Main Street? Because it seems like as more people shop online, whatever, it's harder to find businesses perhaps to occupy some of the first floor.
It is,
So maybe that suggestion about taking out the restriction is the way to go.
but do we take it out?
Yeah, I think
Not
the goal-
running Main Street or all of Main Street? Because right now that,
But I'm thinking maybe it makes sense to take out for all of Main Street, so that option's available for buildings. If they can't rent them commercially, they can do them for
the
residents.
building across from Misha's Market took forever to sell. Because it had to stay vacant. Every person wanted to buy it, wanted to put a residential unit in. And I talked about it because we were talking, was there a way to make the other street, the road frontage and somehow. And we couldn't talk ourselves into it because we were trying to honor what the code said, right? So, but yeah, there's a number of buildings that where we forced that lower level to be other than residential, included residential from going in.
But the new code is allowing residential on the first floor. I don't think we want to have single families in the lower village where we're trying to have
Yeah, I wanted
dense.
to add
more
that.
debts and more
Yep.
businesses down the way.
So the prohibition on residential, or prohibition, how residential is governed in the LV under the recode is that if there's only one unit in the building, it has to be on an upper floor, so you could have like a, another allowed use with residential up top. And also, I just want to say that I'm not really taking a stance on this, I'm just explaining it. And that if you had 2 units in the building, the same thing, it would need to be on an upper story. As soon as you hit 3 units in the building, those units are allowed anywhere in the building, so that's why some of these ones went from not permitted to permitted because there was multiple units in the building, Tom,
Yeah.
right? Yes. So I do just want to say that it's switched a little bit. I still think it's good for you guys to be having this conversation, but it's a little different and I wanted to give that context.
So where did we end up?
I mean, I think it's good to have the lower village be able to have
I agree.
the apartment buildings and in the others that have businesses. I don't think it's good to have single family homes. Well, there's not that many lots down
I wouldn't buy a place for a business down there, for a business with a thing on top. There's no place to park down there. I mean, there's so many issues there with having, I mean, there's only so many people in walking distance from there, realistically, just sellability. I wouldn't, that's something I would get involved in. The two that I do know, the owners up down there are kind of struggling. So,
Keep in mind, these are uses, so you could have a building of a business and a dwelling, and it would be so regulated as a sole living one unit. That use would, so that was not in the first floor.
okay, yeah, I see what you
Yeah,
mean.
it's not
Yeah.
just the house, it's the unit, the
Mhm.
household.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm still asking questions.
Which is the way it is now. That's the
Where
way it
have
is.
we ended up? I'm not sure. I don't.
Well, if we're comfortable with the changes that have been made, but we can do houses that are not facing Main Street, that takes care of the three that are not permitted right now, right?
Yeah.
They're under the new. Because none of those two Green Street properties and the Winter Street property don't face Main
But
Street,
you're not willing to extend that over to Mill Street.
The new is the zone,
because we already.
current is Main
As
Street.
the existing code. Was not facing Main Street, that's why they're permitted. So what we're doing is we're
I
not
heard you.
changing that number. Okay.
So you think the three that right now are saying not permitted really are permitted?
No, not into the
No,
new.
you would need to
The
make.
new extends the entirety of the zone, the current is just Main Street.
So if we retained that.
right.
portion,
That portion of the
Should
current
be-
code over here.
Right, these would be fine.
That's right.
And then the zone changes that we talked about with the U0622, the U2. U0217, they wouldn't need to move into R1, they could stay in the lower village because, yep. So. I think that there are benefits to both of those, whatever the board wants, I'll note down and we can put in our notes.
I like it that way, as long as it's not fronting Main Street. But they hashed that out in 2007.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, this whole discussion
Oh,
before,
no, and that whole discussion did happen, right?
yeah.
And there was a robust committee that wants to do that, right? But I would also say that I've seen the results of that.
Right.
It hasn't necessarily. I don't think have the intent, but I'll keep my personal stuff out of that, but, all right, so basically. This cleans up those items if we do carry over that same item from the vote.
Yeah, sure.
To the new. Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna make a,
So again, that can be your, does board all agree?
Yeah, so if we say that houses that aren't fronting Main Street don't have to do it, right, they still can choose to do it. And you know what I mean, they could still,
I'm just hearing the residential prohibition, whatever it applies.
Doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Just trying to Main Street.
Right.
Yeah.
yep, that's the note that I'm making on 1 unit and 2 unit is that. The upper only applies to houses fronting Main Street, we'll write it in such a way that it's clear and you guys will see it again once it's been rewritten.
Yeah, and just put somewhere in the side table, at some point, and like to revisit whether or not we still want to maintain that. On Front Street, for that, run on Main Street itself, on Main Street property. But I don't want to get into any lengthier debate on that today.
Okay, so you guys do want to note, 1 unit on lower stories allowable as a future item of discussion?
Please,
All
right. So is there anything else on Lower Village? Middle Village is gonna be fun.
Not many changes,
No,
there's more things permitted.
I only have one question for you, and it's gonna be directed at you.
Okay.
So you guys are good with the lot changes otherwise in Lower Village, no notes? Okay, great, thank you, appreciate that. Please let me know if there's a specific vision you'd like to look at.
All right, so. No boundary changes in Middle Village.
No, I did not see any.
I did have a Middle Village question from the use table. which is, why have eating and drinking places and retail and entertainment both been disallowed? Seems like. And as a follow-up question,
So they're going about, I mean,
in MV, Middle Village? In both, retail business was conditional,
retail was.
right, however, that's been combined. And that's my point of saying that is.
Yeah.
Maybe that is an argument against combining those uses, because. So you have eating and drinking places, right, which is now restaurant, mobile, and retail, right, are all together in the same use.
I put retail in there because there are certain eating and drinking places that are currently considered retail. There are certain eating and drinking places that are considered
Right.
restaurant. There are certain that are considered mobile food service.
Right.
I would say retail also goes into the retail and entertainment use, so it's split in two ways. So
Right.
that's the only thing I want to know about. But yes, I do have red.
So
Conditional
an
boxes there?
eating and drinking place. That sells retail food, like sells like. Cookie pies or something, is that what you're talking about?
Do you wanna expand on this, Tom? What, there are certain, like the coffee shop is currently a retail business, right?
Yeah, and it's, how you can connect the dots to our definitions, they're not real specific, so.
Okay. So, I don't know, I guess my worry was just DQ, and then my other thing was, you know, if we're trying to make this walkable. Downtown, those seem like things that should be allowed to me. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it just, I was just noting the change because they were
And
kind
you're
of different
saying,
red.
you're saying what should be allowed?
what's in the, do we have any in the Little Village?
Okay,
Local
eating
village.
and drinking places
DQ, I think is.
DQ.
has gone from
Yeah.
conditional to not allowed retail
You
business.
stole my question.
Okay.
And then retail business has gone from conditional.
But none of the businesses
No
that are
longer.
currently in Middle Village are considered retail businesses.
Right,
They're all service businesses, the ones that are there. So there's no, I mean, as far as like Tom's table, none of these are being removed.
so with like,
There's more things
There's
being
a lot of
permitted.
them under
actually.
home occupation, a lot of.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, assuming they still are home occupation.
It
but they
seems-
posted it.
right.
That DQ is currently being fast food. Restaurant fast food is what you have it listed as, yeah? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's currently not permitted in that zone.
right, I understand that.
Yeah, okay.
Uh,
Okay, so you're not, it's just.
No,
the
I was just
concept.
wondering
Yeah.
why they got.
Yep.
Why those permissions got removed. Seems like in a downtown, just.
So-
I think because some of these things fell under retail previously, they don't now.
Right, because of the combination of the uses.
Right.
Which,
Just that.
what the point of what I was just saying was, is it appropriate to combine the uses? Or are we sort of? You know, it seems less flexible. Oh, so I don't know. But I just think if you're gonna combine a use and one of those uses used to be allowed, it needs to be allowed going forward. If we're gonna combine uses, it was just a thought I had while I was summer.
We didn't have much in the Middle Village currently.
Yeah,
It was kind of off limits,
right,
yeah,
cause it's mostly residential.
right.
I would say that on my comparison tool, retail under eating and drinking places is kind of more of a comparison one. I think that retail more clearly goes into retail and entertainment.
Mhm.
So if we were, concerned about your comment, which
Right.
once again, not giving an opinion on,
Mhm.
I think we should talk about the retail and entertainment use, not the eating and drinking places one. I will say one thing that I considered as we did this in the Middle Village is the lack of street parking in the Middle Village and the lack of the ability to create street parking. I think the road is narrower through there, whereas in the lower village and the village center, there is a little bit more freedom to we could do things to make street parking. So we had I think looked at uses that might create significant parking as a concern in that zone due to that. Just as a consideration for you guys as you talk about this, once again, not trying to say we were, wholly right there, just that was something that was considered. When my team worked on this document that we're looking at.
So can we put retail business back in as conditional like it was before?
think we certainly could have on the board to discuss that and probably see if it as well, since this is the.
There's a current, let me just say the only. However, is the current footnote limits the size to 1,250 square feet. It's from commercial area, so the rest of the building will be this one. I think Rico is trying to do away with footnotes, so
Yes,
that's just, as you just mentioned, consider it.
thank you, John, that's a very good point.
So if there's. Is. Middle Village is one of the zones where they have to have something downstairs or no? No,
No,
no, okay.
Good. we
So
have single homes.
you don't want any
Hey,
neighbors?
you know, I think,
No, I have plenty of neighbors.
and I think he has to recuse himself.
Possibly.
No, I wanted to go commercial.
Sounds like let it all be allowed.
All right.
I don't know, I was just thinking about it and I was like, why wouldn't a restaurant be allowed there? Oh, and I was also thinking of Dairy Queen.
Yeah, the only consideration I can think of is parking, so if you guys do want to talk about allowing eating and drinking places there, I'd give you that to consider, but I think this is why we're doing this, so if you want to talk about it, please do go ahead.
Well, you can certainly have a criteria for parking, and if the lot doesn't support that, then they're not gonna go in there, even if it's permitted, right? So there's other ways to control that.
Sure,
But,
yeah.
And this is more, just was gonna pick on you, but,
Or maybe,
and I have nothing other than a number of discussions over the years about DQ. And DQ basically was not permitted and is still not permitted, so nobody's changing anything or whatever. But what that does is when DQ wants to put Frazier's in there, you can't put Frazier's in there because he can't do any changes, right? And is that the way we still want
yep. I'm just one building.
it? No,
I mean, I think
It-
it takes a lot to add a full restaurant too. And I'm not sure that one, a fast food restaurant. It's a great spot, LBJ ate there, it's known everywhere. I happen to get down there every once in a while, probably too often, but, I mean, I just don't think we want a fast food restaurant in the middle of Main Street.
Right.
Well. Fast food's part of another use now. So if you want to allow a restaurant, you have to also allow fast food, which was my point with the whole thing.
And restaurants aren't,
What?
restaurants aren't.
I know they aren't, I know. I'm just saying that the combination. Pigeonholes you.
I see.
That was the point of that whole comment, so that,
I apologize, I just got you right there, Mayor.
yeah, sorry.
That really clarified it for me, thank you.
No, I'm not pushing to change that, I just.
Well, then would retail and entertainment become?
What's that?
Are you considering, you're gonna consider that? I'm just throwing it out there, because
Right.
a lot of the, what is a home occupation, you know, if you look at it, it's probably. It's more of a retail definition at this.
Right.
point, Along that section.
All right. That was actually the only thing I was gonna talk to you about was DQ. I didn't have a lot on Middle Village. Did anyone other than Maryland stuff?
No, but I want to know one thing. Back in 1955, the town was looking at that piece of land for the Dairy Queen is. And was gonna build a fire station on June. And then just get paper. Offered them a piece where it was down the bottom of the hill. For a 99-year lease. And so that's where they went and built down there. Interesting. Yeah. I heard that from some of the old guys.
There's no,
You remember that wrong, because you were on the planning board back then.
and you could say that again, and for the official record again, thank you. Are you at 40 yet? Is it 40 years?
Well, I'm on this finished 39,
That's what I thought. Right, so you're moving into your 40th.
but I was born in 55, so.
I wasn't asking how old you were. All right, I don't know that we need much more on Middle Village once people want.
There was no boundary changes.
I don't think so, no. So are you guys good with all the uses that we have proposed for those two zones, for LB and MB? I think, we've talked about the changes, but I'd like to get that as a note that you guys are all right with them.
I didn't, well, tell me if I missed something. I didn't really see a lot of changes going down through LB and MB.
No, if we start at the top of my table, looks like the first place we see any red is the retail business in relation to the eating and drinking is the retail business, which is currently conditional and becomes not permitted, though I think Tom made a very important point, caveat that retail has limits on its size in minimum. And then
Did have a note, because we have the neighborhood grocery stores, which are permitted in the lower village and upper village. In the old code, there is a note that, no gasoline.
yeah.
So I don't know if that's carrying over.
It may not be explicitly in there right now. I have multiple places where that note is written and it's pretty seared into my brain at this point that before this goes, it needs to have. I've written in multiple places, the neighborhood grocery store needs to just look exactly as it is, because I don't think anyone's trying to change that. What we have right now is working. So whatever those prohibitions are on gasoline in certain zones need to be carried forward. There is the one thing that I'll note is a change is these kind of entertainment uses, which we kept in. There's maybe some differences there. If you guys want to get into those, we can. We didn't flag any issues with them as staff. But honestly, and they're not impacting anyone there right now, I don't believe. Group living.
Nothing stood out to me when I looked at them. Anything stand out to you guys?
Okay, so the planning board is ready to sign off on LB and MB as good as in this document?
The only other question I had was with the multiple plan developments.
Yes.
Um,
Find those, the M would fall under master plan development, but I know through multiple conversations, we need to figure that out in a better way than it is right now. There are concerns about master plan development. I just refrained from giving any uses in these zones as part of this because it's a bigger conversation the planning board needs to have, and I don't feel comfortable giving, us saying anything in regards to that.
How difficult will it be to change something 2 years from now if we find something's really not right?
I don't think it'll be too difficult. I think the expectation is that, this is a really big process. And even within the first year that we'll probably be making notes and going, gosh, we spent a really long time on this, but we didn't see this one coming. And that first town meeting, we'll just have to come and say, okay, this is getting changed, with obviously you guys working through it with us, but we're gonna try our very best, I think, but no, we're not infallible, unfortunately, and I think that's just the reality of the game. But I don't think anyone's gonna tell you, oh, well, we just redid the zoning, so you can't change it again.
Yeah, that's what I don't want
Yeah,
to see.
no, I've never heard from anyone that would be the expectation, and it certainly wouldn't be mine.
I think it's safe to say this is a living document. And you adjust it as necessary, laws change, circumstances change. It's not, chipped in granite, it's a living document.
All right, so. I guess I'll caveat what you said with, for the most part, the answer is yes, we're okay with, at least I'm okay with LV and MV. I'm not okay with plan developments.
That wasn't there for you guys to see. I do not consider it part of that decision.
Could we ask? Could we ask for comment before we sign? I know I don't usually take comments in workshops, but we do have some lower village people here. If you wanted to say anything, we take those comments.
Actually, anytime anybody would like to say something, please do. I mean, so. Because this is a workshop.
Not putting you on the spot, just if you have anything to say.
But we do have a lot bigger discussion on master plan.
Yes, it shouldn't be considered part of this. It has to be like its own workshop, probably. I've reached out to the consultant to talk to her about it because I need to speak with her about it, so I'm hoping to hear back soon.
So I'd like to be able to have that discussion at the next meeting.
That would be my goal. I need to speak with her and then I think depending on that conversation, like I will need to talk and you and I need to talk and just, you know. Work with what we can do, figure out a way to start the conversation.
Okay, so I guess. I guess I'll ask general thoughts, which is item 3 on our agenda. I'm going forward for next month. I'm kind of chimed in ahead of time, but what I was hoping to see us do is get into Village Center / Upper Village. Maybe come through whether we agree that it should be called Upper Village instead of Village Center. Basically talk about boundary changes, use table changes, and in particular, focus on PCDs. To some extent, that's the first place that really kicks in, as well as form-based zoning. And so that's a pretty big meeting, but I think we need to do that.
Well, we're gonna finish the maps first.
You want to come back to maps or not?
I don't know.
I mean, we can, like, but
And I think it works well to do the map with it as a. Just sort of. Because otherwise, I think we're talking the map and also. Considering what the uses are, various reasons, places and things are both.
Do we have anything coming at us? Next planning board development? Yes, okay.
and what's that?
Sky high.
Okay. So you're recused. Let's make sure everybody knows we have a forum.
Things that reminded that one will have
The sidewalk,
this as well.
and we'll do the sidewalk the night of the planning.
Which will be what time?
Usually you go out like 5 o'clock. Does that still work for everybody?
Won't be here 27.
More important, he's not here, we refuse.
But I'll be at the sidewalk.
You just can't say anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
So just for next time, something I had written down when I discussed this with you guys was, so currently right now I have that we're gonna talk about Village Center / Upper Village. We're gonna just touch on the name. We're gonna touch on boundary changes and the uses. And then we're going to discuss Article 2 in context of the UVVC. And we're gonna try to talk about the planned developments. I'll be candid, I don't know if we'll be able to finish all of that. That feels like a big discussion, but maybe I'm overestimating, so we can.
If the board
end that.
disagrees, I'd like to put PCD first.
Okay.
Right, and also, I know you have sent a response back to, John Wozleski's. Which I just bring that into the PCD discussion, so everybody's on board with that as well.
Yep, that just for everyone to the letter, I think is in the front pocket of your binder. Okay, so name decision, boundary uses, then we move into planned developments, and then after that, Article 2, and maybe we'll put a little caveat that we may not get through everything, but this is the general. Okay.
And this is 10th September.
So.
We have on the 27th. Do you have anything on 27th?
For Rico?
Mhm.
No, we're only doing that once a month.
Do we have any projects on the 27th?
Yep, sky high.
Oh, Sky High, all right, then I'm not here either,
On the 27th?
on the 27th.
You can reach quorum with Tim, we did determine that, so if there are 3 other people that can make it besides him. You can have quorum.
Not
What'd
as
you
for
say?
chair.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
You can count towards quorum even though you're recused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're
You have to
present,
show up though.
Yes.
as long as you're present, it counts. And then you can recuse,
Very odd.
it
Okay.
is,
It is in the bylaws.
it
Check that before.
No, I'm sorry. But I'm the old one. So-
So both of you are not.
No, they're both. But yeah. Please double confirm. all these guys.
We'll check on quorum immediately.
Yeah.
We need to notice
I needed
this.
to check on that, it wasn't. I didn't think it was as many of us can not believe it.
So, who's not gonna be here other than you on the 27th? You're not gonna be there either.
Yeah.
Should we do the sidewalk a different day? Can we do that?
I mean, I think we need to move the whole meeting.
You can do a different day, I leave Monday. Which was it's the 24th.
No, I don't think there's gonna be any issue with the sidewalk, so we'll just.
Well, I think it's. At least the reviews seem to have gone pretty well.
No, yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. Yeah, just leave it alone.
I
Thank you,
think,
Sky.
I think I'd leave it,
Check on
Larry,
quorum. Yep.
Larry can share it,
Sorry?
Larry can share it,
Yeah, yeah.
unless Marilyn got.
Meteoric rookie over
But
here.
let's make sure he's, all right, so. We at least cover 27th and then the 10th, we know what we're gonna do, any other comments? Anything from anyone else?
I'm just trying to understand the logistics on this, bylaws. So if Larry's chairing, you got Ron and Marilyn, I'm recused. Is the chair gonna be a voting, member only for a tie break, or I guess it wouldn't, yeah, it wouldn't matter, right? He doesn't need to vote as long as two are in favor or opposed.
Oh, yeah.
He votes anyway.
I was gonna say, I thought you voted, Don.
I vote unless I recuse because of something, right? So,
Okay.
yeah, no, he's a voting member, you'll conceivably have 3 out.
Well, 4, very good.
No, it would be 3, because I'm
She would be 3.
recused.
Both of those are.
Right. Well, no, no. You're right. One.
We'll let you know if it's an
Bylaws
issue,
allows
guys.
The chair to vote,
It's
as a
been a long day,
matter,
sorry.
by default, the chair can vote. By.
I haven't looked specifically into that one, honestly, Tim, so I don't wanna like say the bylaws say that.
Just all the boards I've chaired, I couldn't vote if I was chairing.
Huh.
Unless it was a tiebreaker, yeah,
Yeah, we don't have anything that prohibits them.
no. Okay,
I was gonna say, if we have, I've voted for almost 20 years.
okay.
You wanna read?
I would just
Sorry,
like to
what
know.
page if you guys wanna get into that.
Nobody's ever said anything like that. The biggest issue we've had is reconfirming that we're okay with the way we do the forum, which is a little bit.
That is interesting, well, that's what stirred this
All right.
a lot. Go, keep
Anyway,
going.
7:30,
Keep going.
I'm good. If no one else has anything to call this meeting.
I'll reach out to you too if I have confusions.
All right, good, thank you. Thank you all for